All right, so it's really funny. Right before I'm getting ready to get rid of this car, I suddenly have this urge to make all these videos about the car that won't be here much longer. But at any rate, there's been some discussion that I've seen. There are a few people that chatted about this. I was never able to actually find a like proper solution on how to put a an aftermarket remote start slash security system on this car. 2015 Honda Civic Si. I imagine it'd be the same for what 2012, 2013, 2014 also. But um, all right, so I know there's a product that was out, probably still is out, and it was sold by some company that sold like custom remote start systems and harnesses and things like that, for whatever kind of car. But there was one that popped up on the forum, and I'm sure that it's a nice kit and everything, but I want to say it was like $700, $800. So needless to say, I decided to keep digging and to figure this thing out. So I'm going to walk you through what's involved with putting a good remote start system onto one of these cars. Obviously it's a 6-speed manual, so things are a little different, but it's not difficult. It's seriously not difficult. If you can strip wires, and I'm talking like 3 wires total that you actually have to strip, then you can do this. So there's nothing to it. But the thing that's kind of funny about these, and the thing that is kind of odd about buying a product like this and try to figure out how to install something like this, is that they, meaning these aftermarket alarm slash remote start system people, they really kind of almost purposefully make this super convoluted so that the direct consumer, like people who want to buy this, do it themselves, they kind of almost do it on purpose, so that it's complicated, so that they can sort of maintain, people in the industry that install these for people for money. But obviously that's not convenient for people like maybe the kind of people that are watching this, kind of wondering how to do this. So I took the deep dive, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, into figuring this out, how to get this done. But at any rate, I'm going to walk you through this. So first off, the kit that you're going to want to get, I think, at least, is from First Tech, and it's the 7AS Maxit kit. So First Tech owns Compustar. So whenever you see Compustar around, it's the same people. So just remember that. I'll use these interchangeably for the video. So just remember that we're talking about the people who make this. It's the same company. So for now, just setting this over here. But the one you want to get is the 7AS. Let's see if I can find a part number for this. There you go. It's the FT-7000AS-CONT. C-O-N-T. So, but at any rate, this is the one you want. Comes with all sorts of stuff. But the main thing that we're concerned with, obviously, is this module. This is the brain. This is what runs the whole deal. It's the CM7000. So this will do an alarm system. This will do a remote start. This will do 4G LTE compatibility with this green guy right here, the the drone technology that they also make. But at any rate, basically what you get in this package is you're going to get this dude. Forget about the blade. This actually doesn't come with it. I'll talk about that in a second. So you get this guy. You get some instructions, a schematic. You don't get a lot of the stuff that's plugged into this, but basically you get this module here. You get this is a starter interrupter relay. So basically, the idea here, and you'll have to refresh your own, I guess, memory on how these work. Well, how a 5-pin relay can be set up, which is like a million different ways. But it comes with this, and the idea with this, if you want to hook it up, I didn't mess with it. I didn't feel the need. Stick shift car is basically the 21st century, Crime Stopper, basically. And plus, I just didn't want to fool with this. But the idea here is that the system can continuously supply like a small amount of 12 volt, positive connection, or it can consistently apply a ground circuit. And the idea here basically is that if you have an issue with the car, or the alarm goes off, the shock sensor, whatever is triggered, then the way that the module here outputs its signal that goes to one of these wires, it changes. So basically it makes this 5-pin relay not deliver current in between the starter solenoid cable and the starter solenoid. So if you want to mess with that, go right ahead. I didn't want to fool with this. It was just too much, and I knew that I may not have the car for a whole lot longer, I should say. But it's if that's something you want to pursue, you can pursue it. Anyway, moving on. So it comes with like a generic harness. We're not going to fool with this. You don't need to mess with this, because we have a specialized harness that does all this work for us. So forget about that. Now the other thing you need, it's called the Blade AL. So it's basically this little cartridge that plugs into the CM7000. So normally when you buy this, I don't even know if I have it in this box. I probably do. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so the way it comes with this dude, and that guy just covers up this spot. Now, the way you have to think about this basically is that this module, sans the Blade AL, basically is just a remote start and alarm system. And like, I guess what I mean by that is, what you're dealing with when you install something like this and something like that, or whatever you're doing, is that you have to have something that handles the data. So basically, the way that this module, as in the big box here, interacts with all these different cables, well, not all of them, but some of them at least, is dependent on the year, make, model of the car and the type of the security system that the car came with factory. So what the Blade AL is basically is it's the piece of the puzzle that essentially allows you to customize the behavior of the CM7000 specific to the demands of the installation or the vehicle. It's extra, of course. So you buy the CM7000. It comes with all the wiring and all the stuff that you saw here. It doesn't come with this, obviously, but it comes with this super generic wiring harness. It comes with these stickers, but it also, it comes with a siren as well, and it comes with an LED, like a flashing LED or whatever that you put on the dash. People know that it's got whatever. It's got the Compustar alarm system on it. So it comes with that, but the Blade's extra. So if I'm not mistaken, I want to say the kit here with the siren, with the wiring harness, with the CM7000 deal, and that little relay for the starter kill switch, it was like $130. Now the next piece you have to get is the Blade AL, which is that dude. And honestly, what it does is pretty amazing. So the way that you can program this to basically encourage or tell the CM7000 how to interact with different data systems depending on the manufacturer, model, whatever, it's pretty amazing. So that's like $40 to $50 for the Blade. CM7000, it's like $140. So at this point, you're basically there, but you're not there. So if you want to put something like this into a car like this, or into whatever car you're going to put this in, you have to get, you could do this, all on your own, but I wouldn't recommend it. You can get what's called a T-harness. So T-harness, basically, I'll kind of shake this out. You can kind of see what it does. So it sort of intercepts, intercepts various cables under the dash, and provides the signals that travel through these cables into this dude. So normally what you'd have to do if you want to install this is you'd use this generic big mess, and you'd have to do this yourself. But convenient for us, Gen Civic, there's a T-harness. I want to say it's the HA7, I think is what they call it. The THAR HA7, I believe, is the part number. I mean, if I'm wrong about that, I'll correct it, but whatever. The idea here is it grabs the current, grabs the grounds, grabs all the data stuff or whatever from under the dash, and then it runs into this dude. And then after you program the Blade AL for your year, make, model, then you go into a process basically where you are able to capture the key data. And by key data, basically what I'm talking about, inside of your key remote or fob, whatever you want to call it, there is a transmitter. So there's like I think it's RFID transmitter that's built into the fob. So basically, you can't just get through the alarm system and start that car. You have to get through the alarm system, tell the car to tell the ECU, well, or I guess it'd be like the body control module, whatever, that you're supposed to be the one that's starting this car. And the way that you do that is by having the key in your possession, in the column, or in your pocket, with the RFID chip built in, communicating to the immobilizer on the car, which in turn says it's okay to start the car. So you have to go through a process basically wherein you have this whole thing hooked up. You get in the car with the OEM remote, you attempt to start the car, you do start the car, and basically what's going on is you're in a programming mode here. And the programming mode is capturing the RFID signal that's coming from the factory key fob. It's recording it and it's storing it into the Blade AL. So after you do that, you get some lights, you take the thing out, plug it back into your computer, and I'll go over that here more actually in a second, because it deserves its own time, certainly, because it's not easy. It's really not. But the idea here basically is, you have to capture the RFID. The Blade AL has to be programmed specific to the year, make, model, submodel, transmission type, all that stuff. And it's got to be loaded into the CM7000. All the stuff has to be hooked up. You have to have a wire that runs to a super annoying place. So you have to basically get on your back, you run this wire to one of the wires on one of the clutch switches, and essentially what it does is it provides a ground circuit to that wire in the clutch switch, which is how you're actually able to bypass that without hacking up the clutch switch or whatever, just to install remote start. But that's basically how it works, is it during the starting process, when this thing is told to start this car, the module, because it knows it's a manual transmission, basically, it knows that one of these outputs that basically is programmed to provide a negative signal to the car, it comes on during the starting process, it simulates you pressing the clutch in, and that's what allows it to start. So that's the only sort of like annoying thing, I would say, about installing this, is that it's like a yellow plug on the back of the clutch, and it's really terrible to get to. But ultimately, if you make it this far, it's all easy from here on out, basically. So the other part of this that you have to be aware of is that First Tech, Compustar, all this stuff's super confusing. There are a bunch of different brands, but the other brand that I mentioned that's also part of this umbrella of First Tech, that they basically almost don't want you to know that they even are a part of it, it's called iDataLink. So iDataLink actually is the one that makes this harness, if I'm not mistaken. So iDataLink is sort of like the part of their sort of umbrella that handles the creation of the harnesses. They handle there's some other stuff they do too, with like factory radios and steering wheel controls, and integration of like aftermarket radios into the factory steering controls and all that stuff. So basically, this part of the company makes stuff like this to integrate. I don't know why they have to call it a different name, but they do. But at any rate, iDataLink actually is the website where you have to, and this is the part that's really just flat out ridiculous, but this is the part of it basically where you have to you have to register on their website. You have to provide a quote unquote business address, and you have to provide a business name. So this is kind of what I'm driving at, and it's so frustrating. It's why it's so difficult to figure out how to do this stuff. Is that they purposefully make all this super complex, well, not needlessly. That there is a point to it. It's because they only want to sell to installers. Which, I mean, I get that. That prevents situations where they're on the hook talking to Joe Blow that doesn't know anything about any of this and has managed to hack up his dash harness. And I mean, I totally get that. Keeps you from being flooded with customer service calls and all that kind of mess. So I understand it, but by the same token, anyway, it's not how I would do this. It's not how I would run this business. Not that I'm smart enough even to come up with any of this stuff, but whatever. Anyway, so iDataLink, you provide them with a business name, a physical address, whatever, and you register it whether you have a business or not. Just basically say that you're like a shade tree mechanic, or you don't have a physical, whatever you do. It doesn't matter. But that is how you gain access to sort of like their, for lack of a better word, tunes that you can download for the Blade AL. And that basically is the last sort of almost difficult way, that you have to arrive at being able to make all this work. So the cool thing about it, I just kind of probably made everybody think that this is super difficult and annoying. I mean, it is annoying, but before I get rid of this car, I figured, hey, I'm going to go ahead and share how all this kind of goes together, and the parts that you have to buy. I forgot one more thing. So part of the way that this system is able to ensure safety with a manual transmission is the use of this guy. I mean, this thing is actually pretty amazing. So it's got an accelerometer in it, it's got a shock sensor in it, and it's got, there's something else it has. It's escape. Well, excuse me. It's a glass break sensor. So it's got sort of like a little microphone that is tuned basically to pick up if glass shatters or whatever. It communicates with this guy. This guy turns on the siren and turns on the alarm system that's built into the car, and the car's honking and all that kind of stuff. So this does it all. But also this is basically how it ensures that if for whatever reason, in some weird way, and it's actually not even really possible, but if there's in some weird way you manage to turn the car off, leave the car, not put the handbrake up, and you try to start the car remotely, the accelerometer built into this guy is gonna tell that dude, don't start it because the car is moving, so it's in gear or whatever. But this comes with it. This thing's super cool. I put mine on like the front left lower of the center console, and ultimately I guess I'll walk over here and show y'all where I put a lot of this stuff. But this is the way that I would do all this. I want to say all in, keep in mind, if all you wanted to do was to retain the factory remote, put this in, have it remote start for you with the T-harness, you're looking at like 130 for the CM7000, and it comes with the siren and the relay, the relay. If you want to do like the starter kill deal, comes with this basic harness, whatever. We're not going to use that. Now that's 130. The blade is 50, like I said. The T-harness is about 50 also. And the other thing you'll have to have, I forgot to mention this, it's kind of a pain also, but if you manage to become the local car alarm guy in your neighborhood or whatever, it'd be kind of neat. So basically you also have to have a USB to whatever this stuff is. I have no clue what you call this. And basically that's how you are able to interact with, programming all this, hooking up to your computer and everything else, and flashing it and all the rest of it. So I want to say that cable is like $40. Cable's 40, blade's 50. The sort of main deal with the siren and all that stuff's 130. T-harness is about 40 to 50. I can't really remember, but I guess we can walk over to the car, and I'll take this remote deal with me too. I guess I'll take the whole thing. No. Yeah, I guess I will. Whatever. So basically, in one way, shape, or another, or whatever, you're gonna have to stuff a lot of this crap up in here. But I will give you this tip. Yeah, I know, go ahead and make fun of the formats, whatever. But I'll give you this tip, that when you go to mount the sensor for all this stuff, this guy, I found that running it, I don't have my flash on, running it sort of up at the end of the front, at the front of the console, sort of sneaking it around, and mounting this dude like just right there, that's perfect. That works perfect. It doesn't interrupt with your seat going back and forth, whatever. The other thing, the siren wire, there's like a sort of vacant, unused plug. It's way over here on the far left-hand side, behind the hood release. You pop that out, you can run your wire through there, no problem. And it comes out like right through this sort of like inner fender area. And, you know, you can sort of, I guess, strap your siren up to the inner fender, and you're good to go. The other part of this too, if you don't know how to do it, to mount the antenna, if you decide to go with an aftermarket remote kit, which I highly recommend, this guy is the antenna that stays with the car. I put mine like right up here, right where those squares were. But if you pop this A-pillar off, you can snake this whole wire all the way down the A-pillar, way back here, and then run it to your module wherever you've mounted that. So that's what I did. Now, if you decide to get a kit, a remote kit with the drone, which I highly recommend, this is like your 4G LTE antenna. You have to pay like, I don't know, $6 a month or something like that to be able to use the service after the first 30 days. I never renewed it. But, you know, anyway, if you opt for that, the app is really good. The drone mobile app is super good. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. You'll have to read up on it. But I found that just kind of stuffing that back behind the front console there is the way to do it. Now, I did mention that you can get an aftermarket remote kit. This is the one that I did. I forget how much this was. I want to say 130, 104. I really can't remember. But basically, this is like the middle of the road. Nothing wild, but your remote looks kind of cool and tells you a bunch of stuff. But also, it comes with that drone module that I just showed you. So, you know, I want to say the remote is like a 3,000 foot radius, and the drone obviously is like basically anywhere where both the module and your cell phone have reception. You can start your car, all that cool stuff. But this is a really good sort of like in between, because I mean, honestly, you know, you're not gonna want to have both. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, I think it's kind of dumb. But you know, a 1 mile remote and also LTE. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I went with this, and it worked great, and that's why I took it off this car because I like it. But basically, you know, I really don't think that there's a whole lot more to talk about with this. But yeah, I'm kind of scrambling. I think that they're going to be delivering my new car and picking up this car within, I don't know, 3 to 4 days probably. And, you know, I started thinking, well, there's a bunch of stuff that, you know, I sort of figured out about this platform and this kind of stuff, which it didn't seem that anybody really had a real solution for it, or at least took the time to kind of explain how this goes together. Bottom line, this is what I would do, and this is what I'm going to put in my new car, if I can find a T-harness for it. But basically, paying $700 or whatever that company wanted to hook up a remote start alarm system into this car is insane. I think I went over all the prices with you. but basically what they're selling you is nothing special. In fact, this is far more capable than basically, I don't know, most all of the alarm systems that are out there still. The First Tech CM7000 and all the stuff I showed you. So that's, I guess, all I got. But I did want to take some time and explain how I did all that, because I think that it's something that folks are probably interested in knowing in the 9th Gen community. And before I get rid of this, I wanted to go over it. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. All right.